very fast disks on Azure virtual machines, new Azure DevOps features, and Key Vault improvements. This is the M&AN Show. Hello everyone, and welcome along to a new episode of the M&AN Show, where we talk about the weekly news on Microsoft and Azure. Make sure to subscribe right now. Just click on the subscribe button below and turn on the notifications so you will not miss any new videos. This week has been very tough for a lot of people, especially in the US, but not only. And as one of the results, most companies, including tech companies and of course including Microsoft, didn't held most of their activities, news or updates. While I wish everyone to stay safe and for the current situation to improve as soon as possible, there are still some news I want to talk about. First news of today is about Azure and specifically about some new virtual machine families with local, very fast temporary storage. Those are the ED v4 and the DD v4 families of VMs. These new families of VM feature very fast, up to 615,000 IOPS and up to 3.8 gigabit per second, and very large, up to 2.5 terabyte local SSD, which are really fast. Not as fast as the NVMe drives on the LSV2 series of VM, which can reach up to 4 million IOPS and about 20 gigabit per second, but still pretty fast. Especially considering that these new DD and ED v4 series come at about 50% of the price of the LSV2. And of course, having this fast storage, these new series of VM are well suited for IO-intensive workloads, like for example temporary databases, file operation and so on and so forth. But remember, we are still talking about the local storage on the VMs, which means that it will be wiped out every time your VM reboots or restarts. So keep that in mind. And last but not least, the good thing is that they are just a tiny bit more expensive than the normal DV3 series, but of course with a lot more performances. Next is still an Azure related news, but more on security. In fact, there is a new feature on Azure Key Vault that allow you to bring your own key for encryption purposes. Bring your own key is not a news for Azure Key Vault because it supported that since its launch in 2015. But the new feature is very special because it allows customers that have HSMs on-premise, so physical devices and hardware devices on-premise for managing the keys, to connect directly with Azure Key Vault, export basically that key to Azure Key Vault, and Azure Key Vault can use that key for all the operations they need to do. This new method allows secure connection between the on-prem HSM and Azure Key Vault, meaning that the key will never exist outside of the HSM in a plain text format. During the import process, in fact, the key is protected with another key which is generated by the HSMs of Azure Key Vault. Please also note that the original bring your own key method that is currently yet available in Azure Key Vault and has been available since 2015 will be gradually deprecated over time, so pay attention to that announcement if you use it. Next, some pretty nice updates about Azure DevOps. The team is in fact deploying right now the Sprint 170, which brings, of course, as usual, a lot of different features and improvement. Today I want to cover two news about Azure Boards and two news about Azure Pipelines. The first one about Azure Boards regards the integration between boards and GitHub. If you remember a couple of episodes ago, I talked about a new GitHub actions that allow you to create a work item in Azure Boards for each of the issues you create on GitHub. Well, that action for the time being was in preview, but now it's finally GA. And in my opinion, that action is pretty important because allow teams to use GitHub for their code management, but still using your work management in Azure DevOps. So if you are in that situation, go and check that out because now, as I said, the action is GA. Next one about Azure Boards is something many clients had asked over time, and finally it's available. Starting with this Sprint, there is a private preview of a new feature that allows customers to restrict state transition in their processes. This new work item rule basically allows you to restrict your work items to be moved from one state to another. For example, you can restrict bugs to go from new to resolved, and instead forcing them to go from new to active to resolved. But even more importantly, you will be able to create a rule for allowing only certain teams or members to do some state transition. If we still talk about the bug example that I just mentioned, Maybe you want only your tester to be able to resolve that bug and not your developers. Now is something you cannot do, but with this new rule, you will be able to. Moving on to Azure Pipelines, there are again two features I want to talk about. The first one is a new preview called Scale-Set Agents, which basically allows you to have the full flexibility of the hosted agents, but with the full control like the self-hosted agents. With this feature, you will be able to basically create on demand in a fully automated fashion your agents on your Azure subscription using Scale-Set, and this gives you a lot of flexibility. For example, maybe you need to have some dedicated agents with some specific software installed, but you don't want to run them 24/7, but rather deprovision them when you don't need it. Or maybe you want to be able to scale more than what the hosted agents provide, and so on and so forth. And this is also very useful if, for example, you need your agents to have more memory, more CPUs, or different capacity than what the hosted agent currently can provide. Last but not least, a new feature of Azure Pipelines specifically around packages. A while ago, in fact, has been introduced a new resource called Packages that allow you to consume NPM and other packages directly as resources in your pipeline. This new feature allows you to consume packages hosted on GitHub packages, and even to trigger a new CI or a new CD whenever a new package is available or a new version of a package is available. This is really cool. All right, that's it for today. First of all, sorry if throughout the video you heard some weird noise, but my neighbors have been quite noisy today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and let me know in the comment section below if you have any other topic or news you want me to talk about. Thank you very much for joining me today, and see you soon at CoderDave.